Hi everyone, it's Jessica Dipzinski. Thank you for watching with me today. So I still had a whole bunch of winter papers out on my desk, and I thought it would be fun to scrapbook this one picture I have of my son from a few years ago. I didn't have any other photos from that day, so this is going to be a one photo layout, but I really love these Gnomes for Winter papers from close to my heart, and like I said, I still had some scraps sitting out, so I went ahead and cut a couple of them according to one of the patterns in the Make It From Your Heart Volume 6 book. Now, I was looking at a double page layout, but really I thought that this left-hand page here would work perfectly. So I'm going to follow the directions just for the one side, and I was kind of inspired to pick that particular pattern because there are these really cute banner stickers on the sticker sheet, and it shows that in the pattern, and I want to do that with those stickers. So again, I've already gone ahead and cut them. It does call for a 5x7 photo, but I've just modified it a little bit to fit my 4x6 instead. Before I glue anything down, I am going to put some brown ink all the way around all of my papers using this little foam tool. I really love to do edge distressing of some kind on my papers before I use them. So I've kind of been on a kick lately of doing the single color rather than matching the color of the ink to the particular color of paper. So just kind of mixing it up a little bit for me. So I am gluing all of these down, and I wish I would have thought ahead to cut that one blue snowflake paper because so much of it gets covered by the other papers on this layout, and it's so pretty that I should have saved some of it. But you know, hindsight is 2020, but very quick and easy just to kind of put all of these pieces down according to the measurements and the directions that are provided in that layout book. And then, like I said, this is a 4x6 photo, but in the pattern it does call for a 5x7, but I think it's going to work just fine anyway. So I had this really cute picture of my son, and I don't know, he was just sitting on the front porch steps and had been outside playing in the snow, and my daughters were too far away building a snowman for me to get any pictures of them. So even though it's just the one photo, it's too cute not to scrapbook. Okay, like I said, I wanted to use those banner stickers from the sticker sheet because they're just gorgeous, and I love little pennant banners of any kind. But before I put anything down, I want to kind of fuss with them a little bit. So one of my favorite tricks to do is just to grab an anti-static pouch here and put a little bit of powder on the back of the stickers. It removes enough of the adhesive that you can wiggle them around a little bit without committing too much. I had just enough stick left to them, though, that they were kind of fussing with me a little bit. And so I had to grab my little tool here just to kind of help move them around. And they kind of had a mind of their own. So we were fighting a little bit. But I think I like this arrangement here. And so what I'll do is grab some liquid glue in my tweezers and just try to carefully pick them up and put a little bit of glue behind them and get them down right back in the exact same spot. I did fuss around a little bit with looking for something that I could trace to make the perfect curve for the banners, but in the end I just sort of eyeballed it. Okay, so I did create a few other pieces for my layout. This is a fun little polar bear from the If Snowflakes Were Kisses stamp set, and it's one of my favorites. I use it every winter and for Christmas cards. And I thought I'd create a little cluster down here for the title. So there is a little sentiment on there that says, if snowflakes were kisses, I would send you a blizzard. And I thought that that would be really cute. So I'm going to layer it up on this white circle that I've cut out. But I didn't want it to be just, too stark and white. So I grabbed a little bit of periwinkle ink and a blending brush, and I'm just putting a little wash of color down first before I stamp anything or put that little polar bear on there. So periwinkle is really light, so I feel like it takes a lot of going back and forth from the ink pad to the blending brush to really kind of build up enough color. But I guess that's a good thing, so you don't end up getting too much color all at once, but you can really kind of control how much you're putting down. So let's see, I'm going to put him here, I think. And then of course this scarf is like sticking off to the side. So I'm going to have to kind of play around a little bit later with exactly how I'm going to want all of that to layer up. So while I'm thinking about that, I have pulled out my little foam mat and my piercing tool, and I just can't have a banner without putting, some string or something for it to hang from. I love doing hand stitching on my projects, so I'm going to poke a bunch of holes here and just kind of create a little line for myself that I can stitch through so that it looks like the pennants are hanging from that line. Then, because I didn't feel like quite enough stitching on the page, and also because I didn't really like all of that white space without some kind of border to frame it in, what I decided to do was to draw myself some lines all the way around the perimeter of the page. I came in about 3/8 of an inch, and what I'm going to do is use that pencil line as a guide to poke some stitching holes, and then I'm going to do just a straight back stitch all the way around the page. Now, on the original layout pattern, it does call for this base page here, like my white daisy piece, to be cut down a little bit and then layered on a 12 by 12 piece to give it that frame, but I didn't do that. And then once I started putting stuff together, I thought, it really does need something to kind of stop all of that white space from running off the edge of the paper. And so I think that this is going to be fun just to put that stitched border all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my needle here, and then I've just got some DMC embroidery floss in a color that kind of matches that sapphire color cardstock. And I'm going to grab 3 strands out of my thread. And then, like I said, I'm going to do a regular back stitch around the perimeter of the layout, but I'm going to do a chain stitch for my pennant banners. I figured it was a shorter area. Chain stitch does take a little bit longer, and I didn't want to do that all the way around the whole page, but this banner section here is definitely smaller. So what I like to do is I just do a regular stitch, from one hole to the next, and I do that twice in the exact same spot. So that way I've kind of built up that first stitch with 6 strands of thread. Then I'm going to come in the next available hole. Let me see if I can hold this up here for you. And I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to slide it underneath those stitches that I created, pull it tight, and then go back down the same hole. And that's how I create the chain stitch. And right away, as I kind of did that first stitch and was moving into my second one, I realized that I didn't like the length of that stitch. I kind of wanted it to be a little bit smaller and tighter. So I very quickly pulled it out and added just a few more holes to that line for the banners. Here you can see all of my finished work. It took me probably just under an hour because it did take a little while to go all the way around the perimeter of the page. But again, I love hand stitching on my projects. You could easily achieve the same kind of look with a stamp that has like faux stitching, or even just doing like a doodle line with a pen, and it would be a whole lot faster. So I'm going to go ahead and start kind of building up that cluster. I still had a few pieces sitting on my desk from previous layouts that I have made. I will link to them in the description box down below. But I wanted that white glitter snowflake to stand out a little bit. So I backed it on a sapphire square or circle. And then I'll just go ahead and start kind of gluing some things down here. My cute little polar bear, I did die cut a few extra times and stack him up so that he has some nice dimension. And again, his scarf kind of hanging off to the side there made it so that I really needed to kind of build that cluster up so that his scarf wasn't interfering with my sentiment. But I think that worked out. Okay, there's still a lot of white space here. So I'm looking back at my stamp set and there are some really fun little snowflake images on there. I think I'm going to stamp them up in that white corner up at the top and the bottom. But I don't want it just to be white. So I'm going back to my blending brush and that periwinkle ink. I've masked off my pattern papers and I'm just going to add a little bit of wash of color here. I always think to do this after I've already glued things down. Like, wouldn't it be so much easier just to go ahead and do this first? But it was fine. It was very easy to put the sticky notes down and just kind of protect my papers a little bit. But I wish I would have thought of this before gluing everything down. But even though that color is really light, you can definitely see it in real life, and it just does enough to kind of take away that stark whiteness on the background. I'll flip my Versamat over because it's got a foam on the back side, which is perfect for stamping. And I'm going to use the same color. So I'm using periwinkle here. And there are like 3 different size snowflakes on that stamp set. And I'm going to use all 3 of them just kind of around that left-hand side of the page. And I think that fills everything in nicely. There was one more sentiment on that stamp set that I really wanted to use, and it says, "You warm my heart." So I grabbed a smaller circle, did the same treatment to it that I did on that bigger one with a little bit of blending and then edge distressing with the brown ink. And I'm going to pop that up on some thin 3D foam tape and stick it over to the right-hand side of the page. So this was a really fun one. It definitely came together really fast. Like I said, I know people sometimes have pretty strong opinions about doing a single photo on a layout. I personally love to do those kind of layouts, and this one picture was the only one I had from that day, and it was way too adorable not to scrapbook. So I don't really have a whole lot of journaling to go along with this, so I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping for the date. And then I wanted something for my banners to hang from. So I grabbed the white acrylic snowflakes that come with this Gnomes for Winter collection. And I just put 2 of them down with a glue dot to kind of look like they're the ends of the pennant banner. And then I used some white pigment ink to stamp the month and the year. And that's it. I'm not going to add any journaling. It was just him sitting on the porch looking cute with some snow in the background. And that's pretty much all that there was to it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. Like I said, I very recently have made 2 other layouts, some double pages with a bunch of photos using this same paper collection. So I will link to all of those in the description box down below. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate having you here and your kind comments and your likes and all of that. If you're not already a subscriber, I would really love for you to hit that subscribe button and to join me all of the time whenever I post a new video. Thanks so much, guys. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting. See you next time. Bye.